Yeah, all of like.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the special joint meeting of the Board of Commissioners and the Redevelopment Commission, Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 3:30 PM. Roll call, please.
Scott Alexander,
Present.
Jason Taylor.
Present. Virtual.
Thank you. Michelle Graves is absent. Rob Henderson,
Here.
Kevin Walls,
Here.
Ron West.
Yes.
Very good, thank you. We have a quorum. First on the agenda, consideration and approval of our special joint meeting minutes from February 23rd, 2026. Any changes, suggestions, edits?
So moved.
Entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Kevin and a second from Ron. Any further conversation? All right, hearing none. Call for vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, that carries. Thank you. Next, ratification of an invoice from Peters Franklin Ltd. Any questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first from Kevin, a second from Ron. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, a call for vote. All those in favor of the ratification of the invoice signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none. That carries. Thank you. Next up on the agenda, review and acceptance of the 2025 Redevelopment Commission Treasurer's Report.
You had a chance to look over it, Ron?
Yeah, I don't have a report.
Oh, he doesn't have the report.
It should be in the packet.
I don't have the packet. I forgot to look at it.
Oh. Okay, that's very good.
I'm gonna move to approve.
Yeah, you're good guy. I'll second that.
It looks, we looked at it. It looks like it's supposed to.
Oh. Okay, thank you. So Treasurer's Report, we have a motion from Kevin, a second from Ron. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting the Treasurer's Report signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, that is approved. Thank you. Next up is introduction and review of the 2025 RDC Annual Report, and would welcome Jeff Peters from Peters Franklin Ltd. to the podium and kind of introduce this to us, please.
After we already paid him.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. We have prepared for you, same as in your last previous years. The annual report and the information required for the Redevelopment Commission includes you as the members, the revenue that you received, your I-65 area, about $112,000 last year. The I-69 area, about $205,000, and about $104,000 from economic development fee. So revenue for the year was about $420,000. You expended about $84,000, majority of that for HWC engineering for the studies that you did there. Cash wise, for all your funds combined, are about $783,000 for the year. $270,000 in the one that comes from economic development fees, about $223,000 in the I-65 area, and about $290,000 in the I-69 area. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and then I did want to talk to you about a couple other upcoming things and issues.
Now, I know we've got some things we're working on. Hopefully they'll come to fruition soon. So we are working on those, right, Amanda? I'm going to approve the annual report right now. And then we'll let him go ahead and finish what he's got to say.
Okay. So we'll have that during the conversation or discussion piece. So I have a motion from Kevin to accept the 2025 RDC annual report. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a second from Ron. So with that, any further discussion? And I will ask Jeff to kind of elaborate on an item that came up during his preparation of this report.
Okay. On that annual report too, we will work with the auditor's office to get that filed in its electronic format with the DLGF. This does need to go to the council and commissioners as well. But in looking at not necessarily the annual report, but this same time period every year, in the summer of the year, we look at and get a set of reports that we use to neutralize the TIF areas. And by neutralizing, it's basically ferreting out the appreciated value to look at more of the natural growth that occurs. And it is by statute a function you have to fulfill every year. That neutralization was for pay 2026 taxes. Around this time of year, when the auditor's office starts to put together the actual abstract for tax billings, we will traditionally get a new set of numbers, sometimes revised and updated, other times just a restatement of what we had seen last summer. And in that exercise in the spring, what we typically do is look at those, see if there is anything significantly different from what we expected from last summer. And we do occasionally find parcels that are missing, things like that, and we get those corrected. For Johnson County Redevelopment Commission, your incremental assessed value has been reduced by about 75% of what it was last summer and what it was last year. We've talked to the auditor's office, who's been working with the software vendor and the assessor's office. And what I was hoping to find was, again, one of those large parcels or a couple of large parcels that made a big difference to cause all that increment to disappear, or something that I could see as a pattern that would explain why all this went away. We have not been able to do that. I wanted to ask you, do you want us to dive deeper down into that to figure out what happened and why? Because my thought is, if there are actions you can take in the future in the redevelopment commission and certain parcels that you may want to excise from your group or excise and bring back in at a lower base value to increase your incremental revenue, those are things that you may want to do. But at this point in time, I can't tell you why that incremental assessed value vanished. So I can't really advise, but the example and the numbers that we're looking at today is we have determined that the net assessed value dropped about $2.5 million. Part of it was gross assessed value that decreased. Part of it was exemptions, deductions increased. But the sum of those together should have been about $2.5 million. If those all were true, we would have expected incremental assessed value to drop about $2.5 million. It dropped almost 15 million. And I can't understand the correlation of how that happens. And I have yet to get to an understanding of that yet. But I didn't want to spend your money without asking whether you want us to delve into it, if there's another way you want to go, but should be investigated.
Yeah.
So for members of the board, after hearing that, it would be my recommendation that we research further with the assistance of Jeff Peters and his firm, together with the treasurer, or I'm sorry, the auditor and assessor, as needed. Does it seem warranted? Further investigation?
Jeff, I know this is off the cuff, but could you tell us approximately how much it would cost to dive deeper into this? I don't want to chase bad dollars with good dollars.
And
I mean, I'm not going to hold you to anything. I know this is a public meeting, but I would like to have is it going to be 10,000 or is it going to be 100,000?
Yes. That's the problem and kind of the conundrum I'm in. I went and I looked at I have other TIF clients also that have large swaths of 1% and 2% property that's included in their area. And I was hoping to see that same anomaly in their data set, and it is not there.
Hmm.
If I look at Franklin, it matches almost spot on to what we saw last summer, but Franklin does not have that large swath of 1% and 2% property. So to this point, the only one I've seen it in is yours, and I don't know what I'm looking for, and there's so many parcels.
Yep, there's a lot of parcels. We know that.
Jeff, is that something the assessor would be able to look into, you think?
The assessor did answer questions that we and the auditor posed, which had to do with changes in gross assessed value. So he has helped to identify those parcels, which, helps me with the first part of the question is, why did that change $1 million? But it doesn't tell me why that change of $1 million, along with $1 million or so in exemptions deductions, triggered a $15 million loss in incremental AV. That's the part I don't understand. And I think it may be more a software vendor issue. But as we pose questions to the software vendor, we keep getting the same answer, and they're not answering why. They're just answering how, which, mechanically, you'll use the increment potentially or the assessed value that's there to wipe out any of the residential properties that you have captured in that big area. But the assessed value that's there should wash those out. It should basically net to nothing. So again, I can't figure out why that small change in net assessed value has resulted in this huge incremental AV loss. So like I say, I think it's more of a software issue, but I think we need to delve into certain parcels and certain examples and then see if the software vendor can tell us, well, this happens because of this. Because I'm not getting to the why. I know mechanically how it happens.
Are the other counties using the same software?
No, the other county that I have that has the large swaths of 1% and 2% property have a different system than what Johnson County uses.
Okay.
I somewhat share Mr. Walls' concerns. I wonder if we would, oh, go ahead, Sorry about that, Ron.
No, that wasn't that. That's my computer beeping. Go ahead.
I just wonder if we should approve it with some sort of cap. I agree. I think we don't want this to get away from us. So if 10,000's the low end, maybe we set something a little higher than that to proceed up to that value.
Jeff, would you be willing to work under pretenses of, say, we put a $15,000 cap on this? If you see you're getting close to that number with your research, can you advise the board at that time that
Certainly.
you're close to finding, you're not finding, or it's just I just don't want to leave it an open end right now.
Right.
Yep.
Pushing, next thing you walk in, you say, it costs $98,000. We're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So if you'll work under that pretense, I think the board would be, if you guys are acceptable to that.
Yep.
Thank you, Jay. Any questions? I do see our folks from the auditor's office here. Any further comments on that or elaboration?
I got a question for Jeff. I'm not sure I understand the true definition of incremental versus gross here on the AB. Can you explain to that a little bit, Jeff?
Yeah, when we have a single parcel is the best way to give the example. You identify a blank piece of ground that is a farm field, and it has $100,000 AV. When you put it in the allocation area, the base is $100,000 forever, other than every year it gets neutralized under this statutory action that takes place for the next tax year. So if you have growth in there, it'll go up. If you have losses in there in overall value, it will go down, but it'll still be around that $100,000 amount. Whatever you construct on top of that, you capture as incremental value. And if the underlying ground changes from agricultural to industrial, you also capture that incremental value on the ground dollars. And then that incremental value, it receives the same tax rate as everybody else around it. So it's invisible to the taxpayer. And you, as the redevelopment commission, all of that increment comes to you. It does not get shared with the school, the library, the township, etc. For residential properties that you have identified in your allocation area, should just wash out. So if it's a $400,000 valued house, it should have basically an adjustment to the base so that it wipes it out and shows a zero increment. I'm not sure with some of the new credits and homestead issues and 2% issues that came out of SEA 1, that may be part of this programming issue on the software. But again, there's no understanding that I have that a $2.5 million change to assessed value would trigger a $15 million loss in incremental AV. That's the disconnect, and that's where I'm lost as well. I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't suppose that the software company has put the SB or the Senate Bill 1 changes in prematurely, do you? And that would affect that? I mean,
They seem to be comfortable with what they've done, and I believe all of their software stuff is vetted by the DLGF before they can prep the tax bills.
I would think if you've got a $15 million loss in incremental AV, that they would have to identify that, this is the group of whatever properties in which this $15 million drop occurred. I can't understand why they can't identify it.
I think they can identify it. They can't answer why.
Well, if they could identify it, then we could probably look at the why. In other words, if they identified, we'll just use as an example, one large subdivision, and we knew that's where it happened, then we could, the assessor could individually look at those properties and see if there was an incremental change, or at least a real incremental change and not just an error.
And I think that's where we'll start. We'll look at those specific parcels, because when we look at them side to side, because so far we've looked at them summer versus now and last year to this year.
Mm-hmm. The only thing
Some that go up, some that go down. And again, I have not yet found a pattern as to why.
okay, the only thing that I can think of, just real quick, and this is something I've been dealing with for the last year or so, is that rental properties, these companies that own all of these rental properties, they're assessed on the income approach, as you know. And heretofore, when I talked to Mike Watkins, nobody's ever audited those companies to see if the income that they're putting forth to establish that base is accurate or not. So they've just kind of been rolling over year to year. An example that I always use is the guy's got a $250,000 AV on his home, and next door is a rental property, and the AV on it's 130,000. And that's a true comparison that I found in Franklin in one instance. It could be that these rental companies are buying up more properties and in so doing have gone to the income approach, which makes a drastic change in the AV. And I think in this case, that would be considered incremental AV, wouldn't it?
It depends. It depends on how many rental units are there.
Well, we,
I think the audit of that function on the income approach probably would come through the assessor's office. Either the assessor's office itself or an outside vendor that they would hire
yeah.
to audit those.
And the reason I have been looking at this closely or more closely is that some of the big home manufacturers, and I'll just use Lennar as an example here, and they have stated that they continue to build homes in these subdivisions, and if they're not able to sell them, they rent them.
Good.
So anyway, that's just speculation on my part, something you might consider as you look into this.
Will do.
Thanks, Jeff. I wish I had as much knowledge on this as you do.
I wish I knew why.
Good job.
Yeah.
Very good. So I'd like to take this to the form of a motion to, so Jeff has clear direction from the RDC as to the stopgap here on the scope of work from a fee perspective. Anybody care to put that in the form of a motion?
Yeah, I did. I just said if Greg's willing to work or Jeff's willing to work with us, and we'll just run it. If you get close to the $15,000 mark, hopefully you find it before you get there. If you don't, then you'll need to come back to the board for more approval, but I would put a $15,000 cap on it right now.
Thank you.
Second that.
Thank you. So we have that in form of a motion by Kevin, and
I second it.
first your own motion.
Can I what?
With Jason, one or the other.
First for your own motion.
I just put the motion.
You put
Ron
out-
seconded it.
Ron seconded.
Jason, did you put a first on that?
No, Ron had
No.
I can though, by all means.
I'm sorry.
Yep, he made the motion.
Motions.
Seconded to your.
Oh, okay.
We don't think you actually voted on the annual report.
We did not.
We
So
did not.
just for,
Okay.
so that too.
Oh, we're in discussion on the annual,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. Well, let's take the motion that's currently on the floor. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. And then we have a open motion for acceptance of the 2025 RDC annual report. Any further discussion on that motion? All
I
right,
think we had enough on it.
hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Thank you.
Last item I had was in May, we will forward through legal counsel your assessed value pass-through determination so that you can meet that statutory deadline of June the 15th, that you will not be passing through any of your incremental assessed value to the underlying taxing entities. Also, you did your annual presentation last May in your meeting. I assume you want to stay on that annual schedule and do it again this May.
I get that burden, yeah.
That's fine.
We will forward that to legal counsel as well so that you have everything ready for that May meeting.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Very good. Next on our agenda is appointment of a RDC representative to the Aspire Johnson County Economic Development Advisory Council. So I want to thank Jason for attending this
Yeah.
most
You're
one.
wearing two hats on that, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I do attend some of those for the school corporation, so I don't mind continuing if that's the will of the board.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think we will formally appoint Jason. That would be the will of this board.
Yes.
To do that.
Point to the ceiling right now. Raise your hand.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for filling in. Very good. Moving on to old and business. First off, any old business to revisit?
You got anything, Amanda?
Yeah. All right, moving on to new business. Welcome Amanda from Aspire to the podium. Thank you.
Apologize to the folks online that aren't able to see this, so I'll read this out. So this is our dashboard that we typically put in front of you so you can kind of see what our that kind of lead pipeline looks like. This time last year, we had about 59 of these that we responded to. And this year we are at 54, so kind of in the same window, but you can see we have a substantial jump in potential jobs and potential investments. We've had some larger projects come along, so we've gone from about 9,400 jobs all the way up to 25,000 jobs and 3.1 billion in potential investment to 17.3 billion in potential investment. We do have five active projects that are kind of moving through our pipeline right now. As a reminder, active means we're having a two-way conversation as opposed to just putting the sites out there and saying, hey, have you thought about this one? They're actually calling us back and saying, hey, tell us more about that. So those are those active projects, which could result in 600 jobs and $267 million worth of investment. We have had 1,119 outbound marketing touches with site selectors and brokers that have resulted in 24 actual one-on-one conversations with those folks. And really that's that relationship building process, so that when those projects do come up, that we're top of mind and that we're aware of the types of sites that we have available and the assets that we have in our community. Continuing to meet with those existing businesses, making sure that they have those the resources that they need to stay and grow here, and getting to, again, it's the relationship building process here locally as well. We do have two in-person kind of trade show marketing opportunities that we'll be doing in the next few weeks, both in the defense sector. So we're looking forward to that. So we'll be connecting with people. We've got some one-on-one meetings scheduled as part of that. Defense sector is part of our new strategic plan, will be one of our target industries that we'll be focusing on, really trying to capitalize on our proximity to Camp Atterbury and Crane. So looking forward to those and providing some marketing material for some of those folks. So, any questions on what I have?
Very good. Thank you. Any questions from our group for Amanda? Here. All right. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, for the update.
Thank you.
And I don't know, any other business? All right. That leads us into adjournment. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First from Ron, a second from Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.